Well, Pakistan has responded, striking military targets in India, and by all accounts, the fighting between these two continues to escalate. All right, stand corrected. After recording before publishing, we've got a ceasefire agreement. This statement was just made by the Indian Foreign Secretary. We'll go ahead and play his session here and then move into battlefield updates over the course of the last 24 hours. Let's give this a listen.
The Director General of Military Operations of Pakistan called the Director General of Military Operations of India at 15:35 hours earlier this afternoon. It was agreed between them that both sides would stop all firing and military action on land and in the air and sea with effect from 1700 hours Indian Standard Time today. Instructions have been given on both sides to give effect to this understanding. The Directors General of Military Operations will talk again on the 12th of May at 1200 hours. Thank you.
All right. Hey, look, positive. That's a net win for everybody. Less fighting tends to be better for the world. I'm going to continue with this video showing what played out over the last day or so, because I do feel like it's still important to understand what's going on, even if we do get to a ceasefire, which fortunately, as of now, looks like the direction we're headed in. But let's continue on with the video. So let's take a quick look at what we know in terms of military operations over the last 24 hours, including some new footage released by both sides. Now, the government of Pakistan yesterday put out a note saying, quote, "The Pakistani nation will not be intimidated by India's deceit and aggression. India should now prepare for Pakistan's response. Long live Pakistan. Long live the Pakistan Army." Now, our understanding is this operation is called Bunyan un Marsus, which is an Arabic phrase directly translates into structure made of lead. So think unbreakable wall or something like that. Now, the Pakistani government put out another statement saying, quote, "Pakistan has responded appropriately to India's aggression, successfully targeting key military installations. Pakistan's actions are in response to India's attack on our territory, people, and sovereignty. Pakistan has responded to Indian aggression by targeting military targets. The civil and military leadership has decided that if India escalates further, Pakistan will respond with more force, including targeting high-value economic targets." Now, real quick, I want to bring up the nuclear question because, of course, when we're talking about two nuclear-armed states starting to kill one another, we have to be worried about where this might go. Yesterday was not the first, and it's certainly not going to be the last rumor kind of heading in that direction. So let's be careful with anything that comes out on that front. There was speculation that Pakistan's authority that oversees their nuclear weapons was holding an emergency meeting, which isn't something you want to hear ever. Pakistan's defense minister came out this morning and said that's not accurate. That never happened. He said the National Command Authority, NCA, the civil military body responsible for overseeing the country's nuclear arsenal, there was no meeting scheduled and no meeting took place with that organization. So again, the nuclear threats, the nuclear fear-mongering, if you will, is going to be prevalent here. Just let's keep a cool head on that one. Now, Pakistan did put out some footage showing a JF-17 Thunderjet taking off. They say this was an operation that successfully targeted an Indian S-400 air defense system, which is with a Chinese hypersonic missile. This S-400 that's the Russian most advanced air defense asset available. So anything going after that would be significant. We don't have anything more than this footage here showing the takeoff, and India, for their part, said that this operation was not successful. Now, the government of Pakistan says that they specifically went after military installations that conducted the attacks on Pakistan. So something we've talked about in recent videos. We don't have much in terms of confirmation of those strikes. We've got a lot of videos showing Pakistani military carrying out the strikes, aircraft taking off, missiles being launched, and some artillery being fired along the line of control. But when it comes from verified footage inside of India showing the results of those strikes, we just don't have it. We've got some footage of things burning that are supposedly at the location of military airfields and bases across India, but that's about the closest we can get to saying that there was some sort of damage. I think the best way to put this is we can confirm that something went boom in India on or about some military locations, but the actual damage that was done there, the battle damage assessment, is not publicly available, which I should just remind everybody is normal. It is not normal to get an immediate battle damage assessment after some sort of strike. That is going to be sensitive information for whichever country is on the receiving end of that military operation. So India, in this case, is under no incentive to say even if those Pakistani missiles missed, because there's valuable intel that can be gathered from that. So if we get BDA, great. I wouldn't expect it day in and day out. Now, we are seeing the Indian response to this, essentially saying that all of the Pakistani claims are propaganda and that India was successful in striking all of their targets. We have a statement here, the daily update brief of Operation Sindoor, put out by an Indian wing commander. Again, my apologies in the pronunciation here, Vimoka Singh. Let's go ahead and give that a listen, talking about their efforts and what they say are not accurate reports from Pakistan over the course of this evening's strikes. Let's go ahead.
Pakistan has also attempted to execute a continued malicious misinformation campaign with claims of destruction of Indian S-400 system at Adampur, destruction of airfields at Suratgarh and Sirsa, BrahMos base at Nagrota, RT gun positions at Derang Yari and Chandigarh forward ammunition depot, with heavy damages to other military stations being propagated on social media. India unequivocally rejects these false narratives being spread by Pakistan.
Now, one of the challenges here, and we're going to run into it for quite a while, is there's no way to definitively prove one side or the other. So Pakistan, in this case, cannot get verifiable footage unless it's leaked from inside of India of damage to an Indian military base. And India can't, they're not going to show footage of one of their military locations as evidence that it wasn't hit overnight. That does India no good at all. So we're going to see, just expect a lot of this kind of contradictory information for quite a while. Eventually, the war of words, the information war, will get to the point where both sides will be spending more time and energy to show and verify their claims to kind of win some type of international support. But I don't think we're there quite yet. But on that note, we did get information that India began striking Pakistani military targets, specifically some airfields, and we have a report from Indian TV here talking about that, and it's a little hyperbolic, essentially saying that everything was destroyed, great success, we did everything we needed to, and their military is completely degraded. Let's go ahead and give that a listen.
So let's tell you right now about the military bases that have been struck by India. 8 military bases across Pakistan have been hit with precision weapons. Fighter jets are also being used to hit many of these targets. Now, we've particularly chosen these 8 military sites strategically, keeping in mind that this is where command centers are, this is where Pakistani radars are, and so 8 locations that have been targeted. We're talking about locations in Sialkot, in Rawalpindi, in Lahore, and several other locations. Pakistan's army has been crippled, and how? Their air defense has essentially gone kaput because we've targeted it repeatedly. Weapon depots completely blown up as well. This kind of loss that Pakistan army is suffering right now is a result of them attempting to target our bases with a ballistic missile. An unbelievable escalation by Pakistan that's warranted this response by India. And as expected, while Pakistan didn't manage to hit any of our bases and we thwarted all of their attempts to attack us, our precision strikes have hit right where we wanted, with us strategically first targeting their air defense and following that up with these kind of strikes.
Now, to be fair, we do actually have some footage from inside of Pakistan showing some of the damage to one of these airfields, supposedly. That's what this looks like. But just a personal read on this, anytime you have any side in a conflict saying that everything we did was wonderful and successful and everything the enemy did was awful and thwarted entirely, usually that's not the case. It's very rare that something actually plays out in that 100% to 0% scenario that the reporter there laid out. So in kind of trying to read between the lines here, it does seem to me like some of the Indian sources at this point are kind of going over the top with explaining what probably is not actually happening on the ground. We'll see how that carries forward in terms of reliability of these sources as the conflict continues. Now, the Indian Army put out a note. Well, let's go back to the wing commander here talking about the possibility. She's saying that Pakistan is building up military forces on the line of control and kind of hints at the idea that there might be some sort of ground incursion or ground component to this war in the near future that so far has really just seen drones, manned aircraft, and missiles. Let's check it out.
Pak military has been observed to be moving their troops into forward areas, indicating offensive intent to further escalate the situation. Indian armed forces remain in a high state of operational readiness. All hostile actions have been effectively countered and responded appropriately. Indian armed forces reiterate their commitment to non-escalation, provided it is reciprocated by the Pakistan military.
Right, so I don't know that a ground incursion by either side and around the line of control is necessarily so much a major escalation as it is just the next phase of this war, showing that it's probably not going to end anytime soon. And I just want to stress, there's no indication that that has happened. Just we're hearing from the two sides that that might be in the cards. And the reason I say it wouldn't necessarily be a big escalation is, keep in mind, we're talking about two nuclear-armed powers with long-range missile capabilities and modern fighter jets. So, like, what's more of an escalation? A platoon of infantry moving across the border and securing a little more territory from India or from Pakistan, or some of these, high-speed, very modern missiles striking key infrastructure deep inside each other's territory? To me, the missiles is the escalatory part. So any incursion on the ground, any ground fighting is probably just more an indication that this is going to drag on for longer than expected. But with that, we did get some videos put out by the Indian Army that I'll go ahead and play here, kind of a highlight reel, if you will, showing their operations in recent days. And I'm going to read word for word from their explanation. They said Indian Army pulverizes terrorist launch pads in a response to Pakistan's misadventures of attempted drone strikes on the night of 8-9 May 2025 in multiple cities of Jammu, Kashmir, and Punjab. The Indian Army conducted a coordinated fire on terrorist launch pads, pulverizing and razing them to cinders. And we're seeing some anti-tank guided missiles and mortars used in these attacks here. They say the terrorist launch pads located close to the line of control were a hub for planning and executing terror attacks against Indian civilians and security forces in the past. The Indian Army's swift and decisive action has dealt a significant blow to terrorist infrastructure and capabilities. Now, the initial military response here a couple days ago was India saying they were going after exclusively terrorist organizations inside of Pakistan. That has quickly spiraled out of control. So that was the initial justification. What we're seeing right now is both India and Pakistan saying that everything they do is proportional, justified, and a direct response to provocation by the other side. That makes it very challenging to try to find an easy path to de-escalation when each is pointing at the other saying, we are justified because what they did is wrong. And you can see how it just goes and goes and goes. Now, something we've talked about in recent videos is kind of the unfortunate expectation that the next phase here could be military on military confrontation, and we are 100% there. So again, the first round of fighting was carried out, according to India, avoiding Pakistani military facilities. That's out the window. And just in the last 24 hours, we have both India and Pakistan confirming that they are specifically going after military targets in each other's country. So concerns of escalation are warranted right now. But that's about what military operations look like over the course of the last 24 hours. We'll keep an eye on this as it continues to develop. But that's all I got for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.